Before he could shout for his Marine to take cover, a short burst of automatic weapon fire stitched Schmidt's waistline from one side to the other. Simmons watched him spin and scream at the same time, throwing back against the fighting hole and landing across the back of Sands' legs. Sands looked down at Schmidt, bit down on his rage, and cut loose with a full clip of ammo, spraying the rounds to the right of his position. He hit the ejector button on the magazine feed, ejecting the spent magazine, and quickly inserted another. "Conserve your ammo!" Simmons shouted, attempting to gain control of the situation. Bringing the goggles to his eyes, he quickly swept his immediate front, and for good measure swept once more to his right. Sands crouched low in the hole. Only the tubes of his goggles and bush hat appeared over the rim. The quiet that followed made the hair on the back of Simmons' neck stand straight. It was as if he were back in Iraq. Pressing back against the wall, he fired his second flare. The Marines kept up their terrain scan, not bothering to watch the flare climb into the overcast. Within seconds, the silence was broken when automatic fire to Simmons' immediate front raked their position. Rounds snapped, passing inches over the top of the hole as other rounds tossed dirt and rock on top of the Marines. Silence followed. "Is everybody okay?" Simmons yelled out. Sand slumped back in the bottom of his hole across the top of Schmidt's corpse. Blood poured from the gaping wound in his right temple, mixing with Schmidt's blood already pooling in the bottom of the hole. Ball glanced over toward Schmidt and Sand's position, catching a glimpse of movement to his left. Two greenish figures ducked below a small scrub, followed by a third figure. "Contact left," Ball said. The thumb of his right hand pushed the selector switch down to semi, squeezing short bursts into the base of the scrub. His first pull of the trigger exposed the position, and suppressing fire would follow at any moment. Captain Simmons knew that the issuance of grenades would have equalized the situation. Too bad they weren't. He worked on getting another flare into the sky as Ball squeezed off another short burst. The entire front erupted as the flare left the hole. Ball screamed, propelled out of the hole, rolling down the backside of the finger. Using short bursts, Simmons covered the entire frontage and both flanks. Inserting another clip, he wheeled to his right, firing 3 quick bursts. Both the attackers backed down the hill, but the captain's position was untenable. As if his father was whispering for him to check his 6 o'clock as his life might depend on it, he swung around wildly, putting 2 bursts into his would-be assailant's chest, driving the corpse into the dirt. Halfway down the slope, lying back against a 3-foot-high boulder, Ball fought off the shock from his wounds. Fighting off the effects of serious blood loss, he pulled himself on hands and knees and crawled to the sound of the guns. Slowly, painfully, he pulled out his K-bar knife and crawled up the hill to rejoin the fight. Simmons looked back for Ball. No good, he thought. Have to find Ball. He had to check on Schmidt and Sands. Can't just leave them. A burst of fire passed a couple of feet left of the ground he was peering over, sending him down to the bottom of the hole. Acting on instinct now, he brought the M4 to his shoulder, rose up on one knee, and let off 4 3-round bursts into the base of the shrub where the last burst had come from. A burst of fire came from his right, bullets entering the meaty part of his right arm close to his shoulder. Spinning from the force of the round, he toppled over the dead assailant. Screaming at the top of his lungs, he called to Schmidt and Ball. He was so caught up in the fight he hadn't even noticed if they had been firing. Screaming for them one more time, he crouched in the hole and quickly dove headfirst out and rolled across the level ground for 15 feet before spinning down the hill to the spot where he calculated Ball had fallen. At the rim, he came across Ball's M16. Clasping the weapon, he flung headlong down the hill, and after only traveling another 75 feet, he crashed into the half-conscious Ball, trying to crawl up the hill. Both Marines tumbled over each other, not coming to a stop until rolling onto the same trail they'd been observing only moments before. Gaining his composure and shaking off the cobwebs that choked his thought process, the captain of Marines grabbed 2 fists full of bloody camis and pulled Ball to standing. Ball gestured wildly with his K-bar, pointing in the direction of the OP. No words, only gurgling sounds, but Simmons knew Ball wanted to go back up the hill and check on Schmidt and Sands. "Let's get the hell out of here, Ball!" Simmons hissed, squatting slightly to let the limp Marine fall to his left shoulder. The K-bar fell to the ground. Grabbing both weapons, the wiry captain ran up the trail deeper into the foothills. 5,000 meters down the trail, another OP was in position, As Simmons jogged down the trail, he heard the grunts and gurgling sounds emitting from Ball's lips, signaling that Ball was alive, for now. He kept the pace. The bad guys were dangerously close, and he didn't know if they were pursuing. All he could think of was that Ball needed medical attention. Surely Barton's team had heard the commotion. Team rules of engagement ordered all teams to proceed to sounds of gunfire if no communications existed with the engaged position. Barton would go out of his way to look for a good fight. There was no reason to believe that he wouldn't stumble into Barton's team shortly. "Hang on, Marine," he said between gasps for air. Simmons, with Ball bouncing over his shoulder in a fireman's carry, vanished into the shadows.